What's going on, guys? It's Greg here. Just wanted to do a quick video on my car survival kit that I keep in my car in the winter time when it's cold outside. You know, if the temperature is like extremely frigid, you know, I'm not talking about like 20 degrees or 30 degrees. I mean like, you know, like the weather we've been having the last two weeks or so. You know, where the temperature falls below like 15 degrees or into the single digits or lower. I always like to carry some spare clothing and some additional things that'll help me out if I were to break down. If my car was to break down, let's say somewhere, and I didn't have cell phone reception, you know, many times in my area there's cell phone dead zones, you know, depending on where I'm going. So, you know, there's cell phone dead zones and I may not be able to call for help if it's, you know, and if it's like 5 degrees outside, you know, and I'm just wearing like street clothing, you know, which is modestly warm, you know, I may run into problems, you know. So you know, I always like to carry some warm clothing, so this way if I run into trouble on the side of the road, I can keep myself warm, you know, while I wait for assistance, or if I have to do any type of repairs on my car, you know, or you know, if I'm in if I get stuck in like the middle of a snowstorm or something like that, you know, where if let's say I get snowed in my car, let's say there's like a heavy snowstorm and my car gets stuck, I'm driving somewhere, and there's a sudden, you know, heavy amount of snow and I get stuck or I slide into a ditch. You know, in those situations you're going to want to have something in your car, because if your car slides into a ditch, you know, it may take some time for the tow trucks to come out, especially if it's like a big blizzard or something. You know, the tow truck's not going to be able to get there in 5 minutes, you know. So you have to make sure that the clothes that you're wearing are adequate enough, you know, or that, you know, you have clothing in your vehicle and other emergency items that will sustain you and protect you from the elements. So, you know, I'm just gonna go over my stuff that I have. You know, so first thing I carry is I have in my trunk, I keep this stuff. I have this jacket here. Just hold on, guys. I gotta plug in my battery here. The battery's running low. Hold on. Just give me 1 second here. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. So yeah, so basically, you know, if your car gets stuck in a ditch, you know, you're going to want to have some clothing, maybe some snacks, water, you know, maybe a blanket or a sleeping bag. You know, if your car breaks down and you're far away from civilization, or you're in a kind of a more woodsy area, or you're in an area that doesn't have good cell phone reception, you know, you're going to want to have some gear with you that's going to keep you warm, so this way you don't, you know, freeze to death or get frostbite in your car. You know, so I'll show you what I have. So like I said, I got this jacket here. This is basically like a hunting jacket. It's made for extreme cold. It's made by this one's made by the Bass Pro Shops. It's an old jacket, but you know, it's got a Gore-Tex lining on the outside, so it's waterproof and breathable, and then it's got a nice thick liner on the inside. You know, the liner's pretty thick, you know, so it's very warm and it's very big. So if it's, you know, if I have a lot of layers on, you know, what I do is with the winter coats, you want to buy your winter coat, you want to buy it, you know, larger, one extra size larger than your normal coat size, because you're going to have a lot of layers. Let's say you have, you know, a sweatshirt or 2 sweatshirts. You know, it's better to get one size larger to accommodate those bulky layers, you know. So I would throw this jacket on and this would warm my core up. It also has a hood on it. I also got a hood on it here. you know, so I could button it down. You know, I could button down the hood if I want to, but I have hats anyway. So you're gonna want to have some type of a jacket. You know, you definitely want to have a warm jacket. You know, the jacket should be waterproof. You know, this way if you have to go outside in the snow, let's say your car's stuck and you got to dig out your car, there's some snow and you got to dig it out, you know, you want to have waterproof gear. I also got these bibs here. These are just you know, pants that I can just throw on over my existing clothing. They're called bibs. These are made by Yukon Gear. They weren't too expensive. I got them for like $100 maybe, and they're just bibs, you know. So they got suspenders here. They got you know, suspenders that I could throw on over my, you know, over my back or whatever. So the bibs are nice because, you know, with the bibs I don't have to take any of my, I don't have to change, you know. I could literally throw this on over my existing clothing. Like if I was just wearing what I'm wearing now, and let's say I had to go into town to get some gas or whatever, get some groceries, and my, you know, I got stuck somewhere, I don't have to worry about changing out of this and putting on something else. I can just throw these bibs on, and then I could throw my jacket on, and I'm good to go, you know. And then maybe some boots. I'll show you the boots that I have. And then I also carry, I have this Under Armour duffel bag, and in the duffel bag I just carry, I'll show you what I got in here. I carry a pair of mitts that are tied together with some cord, so this way, like, I can take them off. They're tied together by cord, so, you know, what I could do is, you know, if I'm using them and I want to take them off to do some fine motor skills, I can take them off, and they can hang off my back by the string, and they're not going to fall on the ground, you know. They're going to hang off my back by the string here. Let me see if I can move the camera a little closer. It's kind of far. So yeah, so it's going to hang off my back by the string here. So this way I can just let them hang. You know, I'll show you. You know, so you can see that they're just hanging, you know. So if I want to, let's say my hands get cold, I can put them in here. And then if I need to do some fine motor skills, like if I got to work on my engine or change a tire, start a fire, whatever I got to do, I can take them off, and they can be hanging off my back like this. So if I need to put my hands, I need to put my mitts back on, I could just take them right from here. I don't have to dig through any pockets or anything like that, you know. So I got a pair of mitts tied together by string. These are made by Cabela's. These are pretty old, a couple years old at least. They're Cabela's dry foul, so they're insulated and they're waterproof. Then I got these wool gloves, and what I do is I wear these wool gloves most of the time, and then I could put the mitts over these gloves, you know. So this will be like an underlayer for my hands, and then I can put the mitts over that. So it just gives me extra protection. I also carry my knife here. I've done a review on this knife on the other videos. It's just the Benchmade 119 Arvensis knife. Alright, this has multiple uses on it. I'm not going to go into it right now. I can do a lot of things with this knife, you know, self-defense, starting a fire. You know, I could do a lot of things with this knife. So, you know, I mean, you don't have to have a big blade like this, you know. Depending on the legality where you live, what's legal and what's not, you may want to have a pocket knife instead, because pocket knives are usually legal in most places. You know, because they go by blade length, and this also has a ferro rod on it here. So the justification behind the knife is that, you know, if I get stuck on the side of the road, I may have to build a fire to keep myself warm. If I'm far away from civilization, or, you know, my engine doesn't work and it's getting cold in my car, I may have to go outside of the car and go into the woods and build a fire to keep myself warm, or build a small shelter. So with the ferro rod and the knife here, I can start a fire. I can strike the ferro rod, get some dry tinder. I can use some lint from the car seats. You know, I could pull the car seat material off, or some type of you know, any type of material you have in your car There's tons of material in your car that will take a spark really easily. Just be creative, you know, think of things in your car that you could burn if you had to. So I keep that. Let's see, what else do I got in here? Then I also have a spare change of clothes. First thing I have is a nice warm hat here. This is a rabbit fur hat, you know, so if it's really cold I can throw this one on, you know, and this will keep my head and my ears warm. So you want to make sure you have good head protection. I got a wool sweater here, 100% wool sweater made by Rothco. It's a military issue or military grade, I guess. I don't know if it's issue, but it's a military grade sweater. It's got these patches that are sewn onto the shoulders, so if you're carrying a backpack, it'll protect the wool from the straps. Got a pair of wool pants here. Wool pants with Gore-Tex lining in them. These are made by Cabela's. And then I have some Cabela's underwear. These are long johns, pants and shirt. These are like a middleweight. They're like a middleweight, so they're not too light and they're not too heavy. They're just right, you know, just like the you know, the porridge. And then I just have a spare tactical belt here. You know, it's just a spare belt. You know, for whatever reason I may not have a belt on me. Let's say if I'm wearing like sweatpants or something, or I'm going to the gym and I have like gym clothing on, I'm not gonna have a belt on me, so I may need a belt, so I keep a spare belt in here. You know, it's always good to have a spare belt. You never know if you need it for something. Let's see, what else? Got this wool face mask here. This is a U.S. military issue wool face mask. It's very warm. The only thing is it's a little bit itchy. You know, it's a little bit itchy, but it's really good. It's got in this area here, there's like a plastic piece that they put in between. There's 2 layers of wool in this. It's 2 layers of wool, and in between the layers right here where it goes on your mouth, they put a piece of plastic, so if there's like wind, it'll block the wind. Same thing up here where it goes on your forehead, you know. So this will give you full protection from extreme cold. If it's like single digits or minus, you know, below 0, you're gonna want to protect your nose, you know, and your ears. You know, so you're gonna want to protect your nose and your ears. You know, so you want to protect your cheeks. Your chin can get cold as well. You don't want to get frostbite. So, you know, this is a U.S. Army olive drab wool face mask. I'm pretty sure it's Army. Let me see who makes it. I'm pretty sure Rothco makes this one. It's 100% wool. It's called the Hood Balaclava Hood Extended Cold Weather. So yeah, this is a very good thing. You know, if I had just one hat for the winter, I could wear just this without even that fur hat, and this alone will keep me warm, because this is actually 2 layers of wool. So it's like a stocking cap, like those, you know, winter stocking caps, or they call them watch caps. Those are only 1 layer and they're pretty warm. So imagine 2 layers like that, but it goes all over your face and it protects you, and it goes down on your neck even too. I'll show you. It's really warm. It's actually too warm sometimes. It's actually too warm. So, you know, you can wear it multiple ways, but typically you're not going to wear this if you have to, you know, if you're going to be having conversations with people. It's going to be tough, because it's designed to cover your mouth and your nose like this. So if it's extremely cold, and I'm talking about like wind chills, you know, if the wind chills are very cold and the wind is blowing in your face and it's, you know, let's say 15 degrees, you know, you're going to want to have your nose covered, you know, because your nose can get frostbite. And then also on your forehead, you know, it's going to protect the wind, because it has that plastic piece here that blocks the wind. Same thing over here. And it's a big plastic piece. It's maybe like 3 inches by 4 inches, you know. It covers my whole mouth here. So if there's any wind, it's not going to blow into my face. It's not going to freeze my sweat and my vapor. It goes all the way around here, and then on my forehead up to the top of my skull, you know. So it's very good. It's a very good mask. Plus it provides a little concealment if you have to conceal yourself. If, let's say there's some people that are looking after you. They're trying to get you, you know, some bad guys. They're trying to hunt you down and hurt you. You know, this will conceal your face, you know, because your face it'll stand out. So, you know, you may want to have concealment if there's a group of bad guys coming after you. You know, you may want to conceal yourself. So, I got that. And then very important is wool socks. You're going to want to have heavy wool socks. These are heavy wool socks. These are made by Cabela's. They're reinforced in the toes and in the you know, in the critical areas. They're reinforced here. So, you know, if you do a lot of walking, it's going to wear out, obviously. So they reinforce them. And then also, you're going to want a warm pair of boots as well. You're going to want some boots. Pretty sure that's everything. You're going to want a warm pair of boots. Boots are critical. You know, the boots that I have 2 pairs of boots. I have like 1 pair of boots that's for like extreme cold, if it's like, you know, single digits or colder. They're like pack boots, basically. You know, these are boots that you would wear in Alaska, or if you're snowshoeing. You know, they call them pack boots. You know, and those are very, very warm, but I usually don't bring those along because they're too heavy. So I have like another pair of boots. They're called the Danner Vital boots. They're and I always order 1 size larger so I can accommodate my wool socks, you know. So yeah, so that's what I do. And you know, in addition to all the stuff you see here, I also carry a bug out bag or a get home bag, depending on how far away I am. You know, depends on how far away I'm going. You know, if I'm just going like 5 or 10 miles away or 15 miles away, I'm not going to worry too much about having a bug out bag. You know, I may just carry like some basic EDC items like a flashlight, a canteen with some water, you know, compass, you know, just basic small items like that. And if I'm going like beyond 15 or 20 miles, then I carry my get home bag. You know, and the get home bag has food. It's got a small medical kit. It's got you know, some glow sticks, maps, all kinds of stuff for navigation, self-defense items. You know, it has a much more robust fire starting kit. You know, I got different sources of tinder in there, emergency tinder. You know, I got fatwood sticks. I got different sources of ignition. So if I want to start a fire, I have multiple ways to start the fire. But that's only if I'm going like far away. You know, if I'm going beyond 15 or 20 miles, I'll carry that pack with me. So, you know, another thing you may want to consider as well is you may want to consider, you know, bringing some type of a blanket, you know, like a wool blanket or a sleeping bag. Because if you have to shelter inside your vehicle, let's say you're stranded in like a snowstorm, you know, you may want to have something that's going to keep you warm besides your clothing or in addition to your clothing. So you may want to have like a sleep system, like the military sleep system is very good, because you could even sleep outside with that, or a wool blanket is very good as well. So many times if I'm going on a longer trip, like if I'm going far away from home, you know, on like a vacation or something like that, if I'm going like away like from my immediate area, like let's say beyond like 50 miles or beyond 70 miles, if I'm going somewhere far away, I'll bring either a military sleep system or a wool blanket. You know, this way if I have to keep myself warm, or if I have a passenger with me, like if my girlfriend is with me, you know, and she gets cold, you know, because I'm not as sensitive to the cold, but you know, she gets cold really easily, so I could give her a blanket. You know, I had to do that once, you know, and I was glad that I had the blanket there. So, you know, think about something like that, you know, and you definitely want to have these things in your car, especially in weather like this where it's extremely cold. You know, you don't want to freeze to death in your car or on the side of the road somewhere. You know, that would be really unfortunate and preventable. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. God bless.